Hello everybody, welcome back to Barrel's Garage. What are we doing today? Well, I thought of this while I was just setting up, and as you can see here, I'm editing a video. And now, how do I go about editing my videos? I thought, maybe this might help some of you out there. Now, to start out with, this right up here is just the free Windows video editor. Yep, totally free. If you buy a Windows, this is what you get. So let's dive in here, and well, anybody that's watching, you're going to get a sneak peek on my newest video. Now, while I'm doing it though, I won't be able to see your comments. So I'm just doing this kind of as a live, showing you in real time how I go about doing this with Windows Editor. It's a caveman way of doing it, but it's my favorite price. Free. Here we go. So this is the video I just shot today. And I've got it all loaded up. You can see over here where I've got it all. Okay, these are the scenes I want to put in. So first of all, I'll click on them and then click place in the storyboard. Whew, there's my goofy butt standing next to another S10. Yep, you know exactly what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Let's see what we can make of it. Let's hide that. Okay, here we go. First thing I do, because I know my opening, I know how I've set the camera, I got it on the tripod, I'm going to hit that play button and I'm going to walk over to the truck, and then I'm going to launch into what my video is about. So automatically, I know to come down here to the split button. Okay, now take off. Here we go. Who is that goofy guy? And I put my finger on the pause button. Okay. As I'm videoing, I kind of give myself a little, I guess you call them cues. See how I kind of bounced right there? That's my cue. So when I'm editing, I know to hit the pause button right here. Okay, I'm ready to go. So that's what, 9.5 seconds that nobody needs to watch. So we'll hit the done. Come over here. I'll click that and delete it forever. Nobody needs to see my wet butt walking over to an S10. Okay, here we go. And I generally go back to split, just in case I catch something else.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Barrel's Garage.
Oh, I missed that one. You see, I missed my cue there. I drug it out a little too long. So let's take another 2 seconds out of that.
Hello.
Yeah, it's right at the 2-second mark. What I'm doing there is I'm watching this and I'm listening for when I start. I'm kind of looking here and at my face at the same time. So I can back this up now. We'll bring her all the way back to the 2-second mark.
Hello.
Yep, I hit it pretty good right there. So we'll go right at the 2-second. Okay, right up to there. Done. Again, that's 2 seconds in your very opening that you have to grab their attention. If there's a pause in there or you're looking around, chances are people ain't going to be watching that. So get as much of that, as Blake from Bad Tree would say, fat out of there. And that is one of the things that really has helped my channel, is I started cutting all of this dead air, dead stuff out of there, especially in the beginning. So let's get rid of that. Come over here to the delete. Okay, get rid of that.
Hello everybody,
So
welcome back to Barrel's Garage.
Okay.
What are we doing today? Well, let's keep deep diving in on the S10 Chevy chassis swap, and actually why I prefer.
Let's see, let's go back to the split here, because I know there's a section here I can remember from when I filmed this that I walked back up to the camera and I picked the camera off to go around and give you the walk around. You don't need to be watching me going up to the camera and pulling it off and giving you the wiggle woggle. So I hit the split here to get prepared for this.
The 4-wheel drive over the 2-wheel drive. Now, there's a couple of, like I said in my other video, you don't have to run these as a 4-wheel drive if you don't want to. All you got to do is just drop that front diff out and she runs as a 2-wheel drive. But here are some of the hidden advantages of the four-wheel drive, and which actually kind of makes it better than the two-wheel drive. Here we go.
Okay, now this is where it gets a little tricky because I want this to be a more even transition. I don't want it to be a wham bam, but more than likely it's going to be a wham bam because I'm so limited on this Windows editor. But let's see what I can make out of this. Okay, this is the whole part here that nobody needs to see. So we'll back this up.
Of the four-wheel drive, and which actually kind of makes
right now, again, I'm watching my timestamp here, and I'm watching this while I'm listening to what's going on.
it better than the two-wheel drive. Here we go.
Okay, it's right around the, what is that, 3970 mark. So we'll go back it up to 70, maybe 66. Nope, a little farther than that. We'll go all the way back, 390. Back her up, back her up, back her up, back her up.
Here we go.
Okay, that's pretty good. Right. We'll try that one. Done. Okay, now I'm going to be taking out a section ahead. So now I go back into the split. Now I'm thinking in reverse. This is all the stuff I'm going to get rid of. Oh, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a little dizzy. Yeah, there's my dang cat. Inspector Eddie.
Hey, number one, we got the inspector out. That's right, Inspector Eddie is on duty.
Okay, maybe I'll leave that in. You know, people like to see cats. Okay, right there, the camera isn't so wiggly woggly. Like I said, this is total amateur butchery of editing, but you know, it works. Kinda, sorta. Let's see. I'm gonna start it from there. Let's get rid of that stuff. Okay, now it was this one. Delete. Now, what Windows does right here is when I do that, you notice the blue line switched over to this side. It was over here, it switched over there. It automatically backs it up a little bit, just a couple of milliseconds back, so you can kind of check your work as you go. So let's see where it puts that.
Hey,
okay, it's not too bad of a transition. If you have better software, better editing programs and stuff, better cameras, it's a little easier to get a better transition in there. And as you're doing this stuff, you'll learn to kind of self-edit for that. But I think it kind of works okay. Let's follow through with it.
Number one, we got the inspector out. That's right, Inspector Eddie is on duty.
One of the bad things that's going on right there, though, is I'm looking right down at my mic, so it's kind of blowing the audio out. I'm 47 seconds in. Hopefully the cat will pull me through in that, because I kind of want to leave the audio alone there. Let's hope. This is one of those moments when you got to kind of cross your fingers and hope for the best.
He's going to help us here, unfortunately. So if you hear him in the background, yep, that's what he's doing. He's helping us explain this. Shut up. Oh.
Now, yeah, I left that in there purposely, and I kind of did it that way to try to get a little, you know, lighten the mood, kind of. Yeah, I'm just doing a pickup video right here, kind of following up on my last video. So it's just kind of a transitional video while I'm waiting to actually get on the good stuff that's going to be going on here real soon. But let's keep going with this editing stuff.
Okay, to deep dive in right here at the start, this is the four-wheel drive A-arm setup. Now, on a two-wheel drive, I could show you over here in just a second. The two-wheel drive sets up on top. The four-wheel drive, the A-arms are connected to the side here. Now, what is the advantage?
Okay, should I cut that? That little section where I turn the camera back to me. Oh, it's real short. I don't know. Let's back her up a little.
The A-arms are connected to the side here. Now,
18. What? It's less than a second. I'm going to go ahead and let that one go. Now, if you have like Filmora and stuff like that, some of the upper-ended video editing equipment, you'll be able to do that down here in your storyboard with them. And you can really freeze frame it up to the exact points you want to do it. If you're doing it on Windows Editor, this one, you kind of gotta do it by the seat of your pants, because it doesn't give you the exact, and it's a whole lot tougher with this. But I don't know, half a second in there, I think I'm gonna let that one.
What is the advantage of that? Well, on a four-wheel drive, they wanted to keep that front tire as straight as possible. Why? Because it helps with the drive. It takes a lot of the angle out of the drive shaft that's going through and driving the front wheels. So they try to keep that as straight as possible.
Okay, what I'm talking about there is camber. A four-wheel drive doesn't have as much variable camber as a two-wheel drive. Now, while I'm listening to this, I'm also thinking of ways that I can correct myself, or anything like that I might have missed, or I didn't explain enough that I might lose people into this section.
It does vary a little as it goes up and down through its motion, but with those two A-arms working together with the torsion bar, it helps keep that straight in line as it goes through its suspension up and down.
I think I did good enough. I don't think I need to put a text pop-up into that, trying to, well, okay, this is what I'm trying to say, kind of thing. I think I'm going to let that one ride.
So, that's the first thing that I like about them. The second one,
also, as you notice here, this is the part where you got to be extremely critical on yourself. This is where you're deciding when, what, and how this video is going to come off to everybody. So you got to kind of forget that it's you right now, and you got to kind of put yourself in everybody else's place while you're doing your editing. I'm still learning how to do that, but yeah, I think you guys get the idea of what I'm talking about there. And again, while I'm doing this, I can't see the comments. So at the end of this, I'll roll through and I'll try to answer any of your comments. Let's keep her going here.
Well, yeah, it's a torsion bar. So all you got to do is come back under there, right about there. There's a bolt down there. You can loosen it and drop this front end down, or you can tighten it up and it raises the front end up. Easily adjusted ride height, just like all of the old Mopars. Yep, Chevy did it too. Yeah, it follows through with quite a few Chevys, GM products as well. But anyway, we all know the story of the torsion bars and why they're pretty cool. But anyway, that's one of the reasons I like them. And like I said, you don't have to run the front diff if you don't want to, unless you want to make an all-wheel drive hot rod that's good in any weather condition.
Okay, I double talked a little bit in there, and I'm bad for that. I've been really working on it myself. Quit doing that. How many times you got to explain something in one video? Just get on with it. I did double talk a little there, but I think it's okay. Again, this is the part where you got to be critical on yourself and think about it as your viewers are watching it. So you got to kind of think like you're somebody else watching this for the first time, because you're going to watch this a bunch of times. I won't torture you through that. I'm just giving you a real quick, easy run through on how I do this.
Then you go ahead and run the front diff. Anyway, so that's the first part of it. The other one, like I was explaining in the other one, is these offset wheels. You notice on the four-wheel drive ones,
I am
they sit
noticing I'm
way
getting a
out
little
here.
bit of mic pull
Well, on
out.
the two-wheel drive, as I'll show you over here, on what I'm going to call my mistake.
Now this part right here, you see how I'm walking away and it just gradually brings in the view of the car? I don't think that's fat. I think because I'm audioing over the top of it, I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But that's kind of a sleepy reveal. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. This is the time I'm putting a nickel in the slot machine and pulling the handle. Maybe I lost a bunch of viewers right, or maybe I will lose a bunch of viewers right there. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm going to gamble that one.
Yep. What happened here?
I screwed up.
Well, I was watching this YouTube stuff, and everybody was talking about how easy it was to put a shoebox Ford on an S10 chassis. Well, after watching a whole bunch of those videos, I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. It looks pretty doggone easy. Well, I found out the shortcomings the hard way on what happens when you use a two-wheel drive S10 on one of these shoebox Fords. Hey, number one, you heard me talk about center of headlight. Now, of course, don't take that as a golden rule. I use it on these because the headlight is so far over. Gives you a good reference point. Anyway, on this shoebox, you can see how far inside that tire is. Now, you look on the side here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It sits way inside. And the rear end. Back here, you can see how far inside that rear end sits on a shoebox. It needs to come out just about 1.5 inches, 2 inches out. Now on this one in particular, it's because of the inner fender, the inner wheel tub in here. As this tire goes up this way, the back side of the tire will rub. So I got to get that rear end out. Now on the rear end, I could run a wheel spacer back here to get it to come out a little bit. It does put a little extra wear on the wheel bearings in here, but it's not too bad. The downside is, though, is on the front end.
There, I'm leaving that in because from that angle you can really see how deep that, how inset that front end is, because it's too narrow. It's too narrow for the car. I screwed up. This is the two-wheel drive.
And this is a little controversial subject, but you don't want to run excessive wheel spacers on your front end. And the reason why, I can get in here easy way.
See my leftover backhoe parts there.
You can see how the tire sets over the top of the spindle. It's actually designed for that setup. Now what it's doing is it's equalizing all of the weight of the car over the spindle.
Now this is the tough part. And you guys have probably, if you followed me along this far, you probably know what I'm talking about. When you deep dive into technical information and you're holding the camera and you're making sure everything's in frame, this is where I got to be very careful, because sometimes what goes on in my brain doesn't come out my mouth. And what I'm thinking and what I'm trying to say doesn't come out here. And then, I sprinkle a little troll food out in my videos.
Now, if you move this tire out and away from that point, you're doing two things. Number one, you're putting a whole bunch of weight onto the ball joints.
There's that Eddie.
And if I put 2-inch spacers on here with this offset of wheel and move that far out, what it'll do is it'll start eating ball joints. It'll eat them up because it's putting too much force on them.
And wheel bearings. Say wheel bearings, dumbass.
When that tire goes through its turning cycle, when you're turning the car, if you move the tire too far away from its fulcrum point that it's supposed to have on the spindle with the ball joints and everything, you move it out here, it'll actually scrub the
Cat's
tire
even telling me.
across the pavement.
Bearing
It'll
suit,
skid it
dumbass.
as it goes through its turning cycle.
Oh well.
Now that's bad on a couple of levels.
Decision time. I think I'm gonna leave it like that though, because as I mentioned there, that's a little bit of troll food. I shouldn't call it troll food. There's an opportunity in this video right now for everybody to correct me, and I want them to correct me. I know what it is. There's a little bit more to that story. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it like it is. I'm not gonna mention those wheel bearings. I mentioned it about the rear ones. So if somebody wants to comment now in this video after I publish it, I don't know. It's not a sneaky thing to do because right now I know it, and I want to go out and reshoot it because I know that little bit is in there. And as soon as it goes out, my dad's going to call me and say, hey, you missed something in your video. And I was like, oh yeah, I know, but Dad, I want you to comment saying what I missed because every comment helps drive the video. It's not a detrimental mistake, you know. It's just a little something I missed. So yeah, I'm going to leave that one alone. Even though I'm itching to put a little word text up here again, but I think I'm going to let this one ride.
For one, it makes it hard to steer because every time you're steering it, you're actually skidding that tire across the pavement to try to get it
when
to turn.
You go extreme.
Number two, when you're going down the road at pretty good speed, every time you turn the car, you're actually skidding it on the pavement, so it's a loss of control. So be very, very careful playing with wheel spacers to correct track width. Now, the easy way to have corrected this would have just been use the four-wheel drive chassis because the four-wheel drive is already set to the stock track width that this car had. Now, the other one on these two-wheel drives, here, I'll pop the hood here and show you. There, I got my trusty hood.
Yeah, you see right there, I self-edited that. I knew there was going to be a section when I was going to be doing the wiggly woggly with the camera, so I hit the pause button, set it back up, opened the hood, okay, got it propped, and then I got the camera again and hit, you know, you learn these little tricks. So that's a whole bunch I don't have to go back through and chop it.
Up here, let's take a look inside here. Now, if you look right down inside there, you can see on the two-wheel drive, the control arms.
You can barely see
out of the
it.
way. You can see down in there how them control arms sit. They sit on top of the frame, and they're kinked in. Now, the reason they do that is because when on the two-wheel drive trucks, as they turn and they go through their motions, and you're doing a higher speed corner, what that's doing is it's adjusting your camber to match whatever your car is doing at the time. So
this is just a little bit of I love this. Chassis design and steering geometry, just it's cool as all get out. At the No Name Nationals during the burnout competition, all of the Mopars that were out there trying to do the Australian turn, burnout stuff, do figure eights and stuff. And my good brother Dizzy Izzy here, he kind of spooked a bunch of people as he was coming around. You watch my short on that. I got my camera up here and I'm doing a short of Dizzy's run. And I hear people in the background say, oh my God, is there something wrong with that car? Is it going to, because they're watching the front tires just buckling and they're turning sideways. And as he's trying to get that car to do a donut, spin it around and everything. I said, you can hear me in the short. I said, no, it's just a Mopar. That's exactly what you're saying going on. Is exactly what I'm talking about right here. It's adjustable. It auto adjusts the camber, so it's fighting to keep the car under control. So a lot of that stuff that you see seen at last year's No Name Nationals burnout competition that looked horrible, looked like there was something wrong with the car. No, what you were actually seeing was a front suspension system working the way it's supposed to work to keep the car straight, even though you're trying to get it to go around. Anyway, that's just like I said, I like chassis stuff. That's where I get excited. But anyway, yeah, no, we'll get done with that. Let's go back. Subject, no squirrels.
It's for control and handling. With that offset, funky, weird looking A-arm setup, as you go into the corner, it'll lay the tire over to keep it straight while you're turning and curving that truck, making it do what you want to do to maintain maximum traction all the way down along the line. Now, you'll see this on them S10s with people that have lowered them, or more importantly, people that have bagging them, right? You put them on air ride suspension. Well, every one of them you see come into the car show or whatever, when they air down and go and set them trucks down, you watch the tires, everybody's seen it, they go, and they lay over, or they go one way or the other. The camber changes on them, and it looks like the tire's going to fall off, or a ball joint just went bad. But it's the way it is. And then when it raises back up, the tire stands back up where it's supposed to be. Okay. On the four-wheel drive, because they were running that front dip in there, with the drive axle going through it, they don't do that. They go up and down, and that tire stays in its original plane. And that, like I said, they did it for the four-wheel drive to keep excessive wear from happening on the axle. But on these, you can put that front end wherever you want to put it simply by adjusting it there, and you don't have to worry about your camber changing because it stays on that equal plane.
It does change a little
bit. So that
bit,
tire will always be wherever you want it to be when you change the ride height.
When you go,
it's kind of one of those little hidden missed little quirks about these four-wheel drives that very few people have talked about. But number one, the most important thing about them is the track width. Now, you see these reverse wheels on here like this? Like I said in the other one, much like a front-wheel drive. Well, if you use standard ones like the rims that are on that shoebox, because it's sitting on a two-wheel drive S10, you can put them on here and adjust that track width even more. But it doesn't affect the turning radius because it keeps it still in line with the spindle. So on these,
another thing that I look at when I'm editing is, okay, I'll look at my time. Now I'm 11 minutes in. Okay, I've already made my first impression in the first part of it. If you blasted this long, I can get away with a little more mistakes in the editing, or you know what I'm talking about. If you've already pulled it through this far, okay, I can kind of squeeze a little bit of double talk or stuff like that in, as long as it's quick and right back to the point. So I'm gonna let this slide again. There we go.
You can go about that much farther out and still be plenty good on all your steering geometry, and you don't have to worry about tire scrub as it's turning back and forth. So that's another reason why I look for these little four-wheel drives and why they're just so dang versatile on how to put them into anything I want to put them in. Now, also, you heard me talk about wheelbase and how wheelbase doesn't mean a bit of hill of beans to me. Actually, when I'm looking for these, to tell you the truth, I look for it to be a longer wheelbase than what I'm actually looking for. Why would I want it to be longer than what I'm looking for? Well, it's easier to shorten it than it is to lengthen it. That's the reason why. All you got
Okay, that's a good spot for a chapter break. This is, and especially because now it's going to be about a 13-minute video. That's a point right there. I can chapter this whole thing. I can, because I'm talking about wheelbase now. I'll put a timestamp in the video, so if somebody wants to know just about wheelbase and why I like the longer wheelbase over the shorter wheelbase, they can just skip to it. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that one in too. Again, this stuff might be mistakes that I'm making,
move it to wherever you need it.
You'll see how and why I make the mistakes that I do.
12, so but you got 115. Well, it's much easier. Just cut a little bit out, bring them together, fish plate it, and be done. You do have to get another driveline made, but drivelines, standard steel drivelines, they're relatively cheap to have done up. Anyway, I can't quote you prices on that because, well, they change. It depends on where you're at. We have a local shop here that specializes in drivelines, and the last one we had done was $125, and that's just in car building prices. That's just cheap. Anyway, I hope that helps out there. And part of the other reasons I look for these great little universal S10s. Keep these old girls out on the road where they belong, no matter what it is that might be sitting on there. So in the meantime, get out there and get some metal hot.
Okay, I think that's pretty good. I'll go through this and I'll watch it again about 3 or 4 more times like this. But for a rough first edit, not too bad. Now I add in my end screens. I have a system for that. If you guys are using Windows Editor, you can use this too. What I do is I put add title card, then put it to the end. Duration 10 seconds. You got to hand type the 10 in because it only goes to 7. Now the reason I put it at 10 is because when you go in and when I upload it, and then I add my end screen, that's where the next video or check this video out, my subscribe button comes up. Those are 20 seconds long. So if this is 10 seconds long, I know that the last 10 seconds of the last one will bleed over to this, and it'll go into this screen and then off to the next video. And hopefully it works to the point that the very next video will be the first video in this series, or vice versa. So we'll drop that in right there, go right with the text. I have a standard text that you see in all my videos. I shorten this up just a little bit. Oh, about like that. That'll work. About like that. Okay, we go that. Why? Because it's kind of hot rod text. And this way, I want it to the left. Well, this is backwards, but I want it over here. Why? Because my other stuff is going to come up in here. So my subscribe button will pop up here, and my next suggested video will be up here. My text will be here, which is going to be thanks for watching, and click. Whoops! If I could spell it would help. And click these to see more, and more to come. Just like that. And if I want to change the colors, that bright blue is kind of offsetting. I find that the green works really well. I don't know why. Black doesn't. When they see a black screen, they click off. So for some reason, people don't like black screens. This one, not too bad, but it's hard to read. I find my best results for some weird reason. It's not because I like the color green, but every time I put this up, I'm watching my analytics, I get more people that actually stay through with it. And my colors, the colors of my logo and everything pop really good in here, even though I cannot stand red with green, but it helps show off my logo some. Whereas black, my logo disappears in there. So anyway, play around with the colors, find one that works for you. Sometimes I'll switch them up depending on which project I'm working on. And just have fun with it. So I got that one in there. I used to put music in right now. With Windows Editor, you can do that. I don't have any downloaded on my new computer after my copyright issues that I had with YouTube Library. But you can come up here to Custom Audio and click this and any audio files that you have. If you want to try to use YouTube Library, you can download those into your computer. You go through the YouTube Library, pick the ones that you like, download them into your computer, and then when you're using this particular setup at video editor, all you got to do is click this, and well, this is where all my stuff came from, but wherever usually it'll show up right here in downloads, but you can see I don't have anything on here. They would all show up in here, and then I just click that, hit open, and bloop, it would put it up there, and then I could mix it in and put it in if I wanted to. But that's kind of a long story because I don't use them anymore because I got popped on one, so, and a whole bunch of them. So I just don't put music in my videos anymore. Unless you want to use New Guy's Garage, he's giving out his music for free. Look him up on our New Guy's Guitar. It's New Guy's Garage's brother. Look him up. He will let you use his all original music overlays for your videos. Just give him a shout out in your videos. Give him credit for it. Say, hey, this is this music by New Guy's Guitar. I'm gonna get your name right one of these days. Thanks, man. Thanks for doing that for all of us. Anyway, yeah, quit babbling and get this done. So now, like I said, I will go through and I'll watch it again, and I'll probably watch it again before I upload it to YouTube, but that is how I do my videos. Now, we'll come back over here to the comments, and now I can see them. Anybody have any questions on that, on how I do that? Let's see, go back up through. Boy, I'm way behind here. Thanks for everybody that showed up. And like I said, if you have any questions, pop them in there. Well, I hope this helps you. This, like I said, is the caveman version of video editing. This is the free stuff that is free to anybody who's bought a machine that's got Windows on it. You can do it this way. It's the way I've been doing it. I do have Clipchamp, but it takes a long time for it to load. And when I'm doing this, I want it fresh in my mind what I was doing. So at the same time that I'm watching all of this stuff and editing all this stuff, I'm also thinking about my title, my description, everything. So once I get this done, throw it up to YouTube, I can just fill out my title, get my description down, all the tags I'm going to use, and then launch it or set it for a schedule, however I'm going to do it. Now I might do a live and show you how I do all of that. And when I upload this up into YouTube, because this one's kind of a crazy one-off video anyway, I'll show you how I'm going to title it and how I just put the description in too. And we'll do it live like this because heck, it's kind of fun, I guess. But anyway, I've tried Clipchamp. It takes too long for it to upload to it, and then it's all. I think it's because it's internet based. It's not computer based into the, what you actually got. it sends all the information out into La La Land, and then you work back and forth through La La Land. Well, there's kind of a little bit of a delay in all of that, so I found that it's actually easier for me to edit on this than using the Clipchamp. I don't like that disconnect, and it takes too long. This one, when I upload on this, it's boom, it's right there. Even on my slower machine, it would pop it right up relatively quick. Now, when I'm done with this, I forgot that. You got to come up here and click Finish Video. Now that I've upgraded my computer, I can render it in their high definition, which is 1080p. Honestly, for YouTube, 1080p is the standard on YouTube. You can go clear to 4K and stuff like that, but everything is kind of centered around 1080p, so I keep that. Or if you got a smaller machine or it's taken way too long for it to load, you can actually downgrade it, make it a lot. This robs the video quality out of it to kind of make it load faster and render faster. But I always render at 1080p now. And especially that I got my camera turned down to except for 1080. Anyway, I won't export it yet. I'm going to watch it again, probably 2 more times. Maybe finesse those, each one of those breaks, and then we'll stick it up there. And my next live, live like this, you'll see how I go through and figure out my title and basically do my description, where I hide all my keywords in my description and how I do all of that. And I hope that helps you out there. And, well, like I said, anybody got any question? All 6 of you. Envious Creation just downloaded YouCut. I haven't tried that one yet. I have noticed a lot of them, though, on the free versions and stuff like that. It's really mobile based. It's made for people that edit on their phones. That one that I was just explaining about, the Windows version of it, I just said the name of it and I can't even think of it now, but I can tell right away it's centered around people that use the phone and not an actual computer like I got set here. But if it works, man, use it. If it's the easy way to do for you, roll with it, man. If I use computer, I use Clipchamp. Sweet. Like I said, this is just one way to do it. And I'm just showing you how to kind of work around some of the shortcomings of this one. Oh, and yeah, big one. Let's see. Let's go back in here. This is one that gets a lot of people. Oops, I shortened up the wrong one there. There we go. Make that one bigger. Background music right there. That button right there. I can tell you with 200% certainty, you put that in, that's a guaranteed copyright strike or copyright claim. All of the music that Windows uses in here is copyrighted to Windows. So if you put any of that stuff on YouTube, yep, you're going to get a claim on it. And by claim, I just mean that they will claim any money, any of the ad revenue that gets run on the video. They won't strike you for it, because on YouTube they give you 3 strikes, and 3 strikes you're out. If you get a hard copyright strike, you're only allowed 3 of them. But if you use one of those, like I said, that background music on here, you'll get a claim. And a claim just means that they're going to take all of the money and all the revenue from the video. And if you don't care about that, if you just want to do the video, I guess you could use it. I don't personally recommend that because 2 years from now, if that video takes off and wow, goes viral for some odd, weird reason, even if you are monetized, you won't be able to make any money off of it. But Bill Gates will, or whoever owns Microsoft now, I don't know. Okay, I'll run through the comments here again, make sure I didn't leave out any questions or anything. Yeah, and you will, as you're going through all of these video editors and stuff, and you're trying out different ones, you're going to find that some of them that work extremely good on the computer don't translate to the phone, and the ones that work on the phone sometimes don't translate to the computer. So you'll find a mix for whichever ones work for you. But the big one is the better the editor is, the better your machine has to be. You have to have really good video card in order to really get deep dive into good video editing software. And the trick for that is look for a gaming computer, because gaming computers have lots of graphics in them. And that's what you're doing. You're looking for video graphics. Let's see. Here we go, 38. I'm more conscientious when shooting a video now. Lots less editing in the end. Yep. And that's something you'll develop in your own style. Like I said, you seen how I do my little, okay, I'd hit the button, record button, and I walk over there and I get set, and then I do a little hop, or I'll do a little movement. Those are little visual cues for me to say, okay, get ready. Here comes the get rid of part. And just being able to hit that pause button and then resetting and then hitting it again and just flowing right through. That helps so much. And you'll all develop your own as you go. I use an app to put my clips together. It takes about 10 seconds and I post them. Editing is a pain. Yeah, this part I'm showing you here, the editing process, it can be a little, yeah. And I'll let you in on a little secret. This right here is my third take. The first one, oh Lord. Well, I was out there and the train went by. And see the butt end of this pickup out here? There's a fence right here, and the railroad tracks are just past that. So yeah, when the train goes by, it gets a little loud over here. So I had to redo it. And then the second one, I was trying to remember what I did on the first one, and I kept double talking myself over and over and over again, trying to remember where I was and what the first shoot was about, because I thought it was pretty good, and yeah, it just went sideways. So I said, screw it, and I went back out, clear head, and hit it again. Controversial means it's fine to run spacers. And to a degree, you just don't want to get them too far. Or if you're wanting to use front wheel drive rims offset on rear, standard rear wheel drive type offset, standard offset, you can play with wheel spacers then, because it pulls the tire back over into its center line. So it doesn't do any of that stuff. I think I got you all here. Again, I thank you all for coming out and watching me stumble and babble and roll on through this my editing process with this caveman technology. And I hope it helps you out there. And well, in the meantime, we'll all get out there and get that metal hot, even if it is sitting in the editing room trying to figure out what that dumb son of a gun was talking about around that S10. Thanks for coming out, everybody, and we'll do this again. And I'll show you again. I'll in part 2 of this. I'll show you how I'll figure out a title and a description from all of this and how I upload it to the YouTube. So get out there and throw some videos out. See if you can master this editing better than I did here. It's not that hard. We'll catch y'all in the next one.